Promising news about COVID-19 vaccines. Recently, vaccines that supposedly prevent COVID-19 in 90% of patients were announced, sending waves of excitement around the world. So far, almost 53 million people around the world have been infected, and more than 1.2 million people have died. So, should we be excited? Is this vaccine the solution to a pandemic that has ravaged the world? How soon would the vaccine be available? How safe is it?
Oh, my baby, replay. Playing my favorite tune. Oh, your chance are ready, your love. Oh, already your love. Shaggy, I don't know passing us on your baby, my honey.
Tunakupa burudani.
Na umbea, yani stories zinazo trend kwenye mitandao ya kijamii.
See baby, now we are two in one. We are two in one.
Interview kali za wasanii wapendao.
Mguu pande panda milima. Awaye izungushie hapo ma. Kama una
Ndani ya March of Live kupitia KBC Channel 1 na Pwani FM.
Kuanzia mida ya saa 3 mpaka mida ya 5 kamili asubuhi. Ukiwa nami nite Ken 1GB.
Mimi ni Marco. Keep it locked.
Mwaka mpya na vitu noma zaidi kwenye quickbit.co.ke. Siku ya leo tunakupa Von 4 burner gas cooker.
Oh yes, na tunakuambia ni rahisi zaidi. Enda kwenye simu yako, lipa na M-Pesa, paybill number 4032353 4032353. Kisha enda kwenye account, ekelea kodi ni CK56 CK94, alafu amount ni 20 bob peke yake.
Alafu kumbuka utaekelea pin yako. Hivyo ndivyo utakuwa umekelea bid kwenye quickbit.co.ke. Ni bidhaa bora zaidi kwenye bei ya nini?
Chini kwa chini. Chini kwa chini.
Jiunga na Quickbit ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bidi yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bidi yako pia kwenye www.quickbit.co.ke. Kumbuka, bidi ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio ununua. Quickbit, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Good afternoon, a very warm welcome to this live broadcast. This is Channel 1 Lunchtime News. My name is Irene Muchuma Odim. My co-anchor on sign language interpretation this afternoon is Byron Abuli. Did you know we spend $940 billion annually on food loss and wastage globally? In Kenya, we spend $150 billion on the same. It is a conversation you wouldn't want to miss, as I'll be engaging an expert during this bulletin this afternoon. Do interact with us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Top story this afternoon: The Church and Clergy Association of Kenya are calling on members of county assemblies to engage in a sober debate on the BBI constitutional amendment bill, cautioning them against being lured by the 5% ward allocation fund. At the same time, they are faulting the government and striking health workers for allegedly engaging in chest thumping at the expense of Kenyans who lack access to medical care. Caroline Kamau has the details of the concerns by the men of cloth.
The unending health workers' strike continues to cause untold suffering among Kenyans, and now the church is adding its voice on the matter, calling on an immediate resolution to the stalemate. The chairman, Church and Clergy Association of Kenya, Bishop Hudson Dende, says it is time for the antagonists to come to the table and resolve the underlying issues.
Time for both the striking officers and the government treated this matter as a case of life and death. Chest thumping and hardline positions don't make any party strong. They expose the greed and insensitiveness of the parties involved to the plight of many Kenyans.
On the BBI debate, the church noted that there are Kenyans who are still bleeding from the exclusion of the process, calling on the county assembly members to listen to Kenyans and not allow the 5% bait of devolved funds to cloud their judgment.
It is such moment like this that your leadership counts for this nation. We are asking you never fail Kenyans. Kenyans will be listening to the quality of your debate, either for or against the proposed laws. However, it is good to note that the stand of the church remains the same. Our views were not and have not been included in the document. Until all Kenyans feel included in the BBI, the BBI will remain a document and not a guide. It will become a registration, but not the soul of the nation.
The church also pronounced itself on the arson in churches that has seen at least 5 churches torched in Kisii.
What is the motive behind this, and who is the mercenaries acting for? This is a very dangerous path that must be stopped immediately. Kenyans have lived over the years knowing that the places of worship are wholly unsafe. Let's see prosecution of these agents and their masters.
They've also called on the president to ease the rising political temperatures in the country that is threatening to spiral out of control. Caroline Kamau reporting for Channel 1 Lunchtime News.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has challenged South Sudan leaders to hasten the implementation of the remaining aspects of the peace pact signed in Khartoum, Sudan in 2018. The president singled out the establishment of the Legislative Assembly and reforms in the security sector as some of the pending areas that require attention as the country returns to stability after years of conflict.
The U.S. Special Envoy for South Sudan, Ambassador Stuart Symington, and his UK counterpart, Bob Fairweather, paid a courtesy call at State House where they discussed, among others, the South Sudan peace process. Ambassador Symington said Kenya's long-standing support has contributed to the progress made in the journey of returning South Sudan to the road of peace and stability. On his part, UK Special Envoy for Sudan and South Sudan, Bob Fairweather, praised parties to the South Sudan Peace Pact for taking bold steps to end conflicts and forge a stable, peaceful and progressive nation. President Kenyatta assured the two diplomats of Kenya's continued support for the peace process, saying the country will leverage on its UN Security Council membership to assist her young neighbor and the region achieve stability. At the same time, President Kenyatta met the former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Hailemariam Desalegn. Kenyatta expressed concerns on the stability of the region, citing several emerging conflicts, and assured the visiting Ethiopian leader that Kenya will continue supporting regional efforts to resolve the challenges. Beatrice Gatonyangetich, Channel 1 News.
The hearing of the case in which former PCA moderator David GATHANJU and 2 others are accused of stealing 50.9 million shillings is set to kick off on the 2nd of February. The case, which had been scheduled to begin on Tuesday, was delayed after the prosecution informed the court a witness who was supposed to testify fell ill.
David GATHANJU, who served as the moderator of PCEA General Assembly between 2009 and 2015, has been charged alongside 2 other suspects with stealing 50.9 million Kenya shillings from the church. The trio denied the charges and are out on a 1 million shilling bond. The hearing of the case is set to continue Tuesday next week after the court dismissed an application by the DPP to withdraw the case. Only 1 witness has so far testified in the case. For Shan 1 News, I'm Nisi Imano Okoth.
A family in Mararal is in agony following the disappearance of their teen daughter who went missing 3 weeks ago. According to her kin, the Form 2 student left the house only with her mobile phone, which has since been switched off. They are now pleading with anyone who may have any information on her whereabouts to report to the nearest police station and help trace her.
The Form 2 student is reported to have left her home on the 2nd of January, just the day after celebrating New Year's. According to her mother, authorities lost trace her mobile phone in NJIRU, Maralal, within the vicinity of her home before it was switched off.
Station ya Maralal. Nikasema mtoto wangu amepotea na niko na mtoto mgonjwa, mlichukua hatua gani? Na mlitraka akiwa anapita Yare. Nikaambiwa tutashughulika isipokuwa mtoto amezima simu.
The family says conmen have taken advantage of the desperation to find their kin and have been calling them and demanding 2,000 shillings for tracing their missing girl. The family says efforts by police to trace her have been futile and are appealing for assistance from the public to find her.
Tafadhali Mkenya yoyote ambaye ameona hiyo msichana atupatia haraka sana hiyo habari yake. Mwenye alilala kwake hiyo usiku, hata awe ni nani, tafadhali ajitambulishe. Kwa sababu tuko na fununu alilala kwa mama fulani hapa Maralal. Wakati ya mwisho polisi walitrack yeye akipita mahali inaitwa Yare.
They're appealing to anyone who might have seen their girl to report to the police.
A section of leaders from Baringo County have hailed the dusk to dawn curfew imposed by the government in KAPEDO at the border of Baringo and Turkana counties. The leaders argue the move is aimed at restoring normalcy, calling on the residents to cooperate with security agencies in the ongoing security operation. The leaders saying they want the exercise to continue until calm is restored, calling on security chiefs not to let their guard down.
The operation which is going on in TRT, and we are fully behind the CS for internal security, Dr. Fred Matiang'i. Hatutaki kesho tusikie kiongozi fulani amepiga simu kusimamisha. Tunataka hao wakora bandits wale ambao wamekuwa akiterrorize wananchi watolewe na wauawe wote. Wafukuzwe waende ama wa reform. Nini serikali wako na network. They can trace hii ng'ombe inaenda wapi. Hiyo ni biashara tunajua, and some dignitaries are benefiting from this business. Otherwise, we are supporting this initiative, we are supporting the process, and let it continue to its end when all these bandits have been eliminated.
The youth have been challenged to participate in national government programs and share their expertise in technology to drive development and create job opportunities. The youth who are attending a training on nation building organized by UNDP and the Youth Agenda Initiative were also urged to seek out employment opportunities within the government and participate in leadership programs. We'll be bringing you details on that story later on in a subsequent bulletin. Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi is cautioning against question of members of county assemblies to endorse the Building Bridges Initiative Constitutional Amendment Bill. Mudavadi is warning any attempt to influence debate could affect the outcome of the referendum drive. At the same time, he warned Kenyans against electing leaders based on stereotypes, urging them to look at their manifestos and history in delivery of services. Musalia, who had a sit-down with our reporter Gladys Mungai, also urged proponents of the draft bill to ensure there is adequate civic education on the contents of the bill.
About the BPI.
Right.
Initially, at Bomas of Kenya, we saw you had issues with the way the document was initially.
Yes.
And were your reservations in regards to what perhaps you wanted incorporated meant?
Well, it is true, Gladys, that I did raise some concerns. I would say Bomas 1, or phase 1 of the BBI, I did raise some concerns. And the concerns I raised were basically on two fronts. One, the BBI should never be seen or marketed as a deal between two leaders. Now that it has been revised, it is now more palatable. It is now a document that meets a certain threshold in terms of building consensus. And I even urge now that it is going to the counties, I would urge the counties to look at it objectively so that we build consensus. Because ultimately, it is the vote that will determine whether it passes or not. All right? So we are now on a journey. But if the county governments are forced to endorse it, that could jeopardize the referendum process. But if they build consensus and then make their approvals on the basis of consensus in their county assemblies, then it strengthens the possibility of a good vote during the referendum.
How do you seek to ensure that we don't see a section of Luhya community happening to support a particular candidate? And also your game plan in regards to, in the event you're elected as a president, what's your game plan in regards to fixing our economy?
I think the steps that we have taken with WETA are a very important pointer to the need to consolidate our political base in Western Kenya. So that step of not competing against each other should be an indicator of what we intend to do and what the roadmap should be.
Are we perhaps moving forward expected to see ANC party joining hands with the other friendly party to form a coalition like it happened in 2017 with NASA?
The most critical thing is that do you have common ground on critical policy areas? That is usually very important. The second thing is that can you live up to the commitments that you make? Trust is also very important in coalition building. So if we make coalitions, it is important that you live up to the commitments that you made.
We are taking a short break. You're watching Channel 1 Lunchtime News. Of course, we have more in store for you on the other side of the break. Stay with us.
Malaria ni ugonjwa hatari sana unaoua watu wengi hapa Kenya. Japo kuko na korona, hatari ya malaria bado iko. Mtoto huyu alikuwa na joto jingi, kutetemeka, kuumwa na viungo na uchovu. Alikimbizwa hospitali ya umma ambako sheria za COVID-19 huzingatiwa na ni salama kwa shughuli ya upimaji. Vipimo vilionyesha kuwa ana malaria na papo hapo daktari akampa dawa za malaria na kumshauri azimalize, na ili kujikinga wawe wakilala ndani ya neti iliyotibiwa. Malaria husambazwa na mbu. Walio hatarini ni watoto wa chini ya miaka 5 na akina mama wajawazito. Kupimwa na kutibiwa ni bure katika hospitali zote za umma. Usisahau adui malaria. Zero malaria huanza na mimi. Chukua jukumu leo. Komesha malaria. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwenu na Wizara ya Afya.
Mwaka mpya na vitu noma zaidi kwenye quickbit.co.ke. Siku ya leo tunakupa Von 4 burner gas cooker.
Oh yes, na tunakuambia ni rahisi zaidi. Enda kwenye simu yako, lipa na M-Pesa, paybill number 4032353. 4032353. Kisha enda kwenye account, ekelea kodi ni CK56 CK94, alafu amount ni 20 bob peke yake.
Alafu kumbuka utaekelea pin yako. Hivyo ndivyo utakuwa umekelea bid kwenye quickbit.co.ke. Ni bidhaa bora zaidi kwenye bei ya nini?
Chini kwa chini. Chini kwa chini.
Jiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bidi yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bidi yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bidi ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Kwa mfano ndani ya matatu
unajua Saturday yaandikangu hivyo.
Ni nini wewe?
Yaani mtu mzima na miaka zake hizo miaka zote. Mtu ajui kujua kuandika note. Note tu peke yake. Kusoma kweli inasaidia.
Kijana nini nakusumbua na mimi?
Nauliza ni ungwana?
Don't you dare insult me, okay?
Mama Angel,
don't you dare.
Me.
Oh, please. Let the dead bury. They are dead, right?
Welcome back. The youth have been challenged to participate in national government programs and share their expertise in technology to drive development and create job opportunities. The youth who are attending a training on nation building organized by UNDP and the Youth Agenda Initiative were also urged to seek out employment opportunities within government and participate in leadership programs.
At UNDP, we've been doing it from even before, and we are also, as we know, SDGs, the basis of the SDGs is the implementation is mainly done by the young people because they're like I said, they're the most affected and left behind. So we want to bring them at pace.
We've just started a process that can assure the youth that they're actually going to get opportunities. You are aware that the government has called for all directors of companies to submit their details into the government procurement system. That is the beginning point for us to know even the companies that are being owned by youth. Are the people who are registered as youth really the youth?
We are very excited to be here because one of the things that we do with county governments is to look at broad indicators that seek to involve citizens in governance and leadership issues. And open contracting, as you very well know, is a core indicator of governance. And in fact, Kenya is a signatory of quite a number of protocols, including open contracting partnerships, which is a global mechanism for looking at accountability, transparency, and citizen engagement issues.
The Hindu Council of Kenya marked its 50 years of existence in the country with a call for unity among the Hindu community. The council vowed to continue partnering with government in development projects.
Song and dance characterized the marking of a half a century of existence of the Hindu Council of Kenya in the country. The event, held in conformity with the COVID-19 regulations, was limited to a small number of invited guests. The Council National Chair Kamal Gupta hailed the Kenya government for its support in involving the community while marking national events as well as inclusion in affairs of the country.
HCK officials present Hindu community to outreach with Government of Kenya to bring Hindu perspective in government policy and framework, which we always do through one or the other way. HCK is a part of Interreligious Council of Kenya, and our trustee Nitin Bhai is in the executive committee, and he is the treasurer of IRCK, and working together with other faith-based organizations in Kenya to making sure that we as Hindu, I always mention, are like a sweet. We always get dissolved with anything and everything and enhance the taste. And
his sentiments were echoed by the High Commissioner of India to Kenya, Virender Kumar Paul, who urged the community to reflect on the gains made in the last 50 years and the hope of the future.
These are the occasions which we take as moments to look back and rejoice in what we have achieved. And we have achieved a lot.
And the government of Kenya commends these complementary efforts towards achieving development. And certainly without a formidable community like the Hindu Council of Kenya, this would not be possible. Primarily because of all the leadership that is brought together towards solving problems, addressing challenges, but the individuals within this room that influence others through their good leadership to build the necessary consensus towards ensuring that we're able to build a better nation.
The council are committed to a continued working relationship with the government. Yusufar, Channel 1 News.
Government spokesperson Cyrus Oguna has dismissed allegations that Kenya is training and harboring militia intended to destabilize Somalia. His sentiments coming following a heavy fighting that broke out on Sunday in Bulahau town between Somali and Jubaland forces, with Somalia's Ministry of Information accusing what is said were Kenya-funded rebels of crossing into the border town and attacking Somali forces, while affirming that no Kenyan was affected in the recent skirmishes. Oguna says that Kenya has remained hospitable to Somali citizens who crossed the border to seek services and is home to thousands of refugees, affirming the country's commitment to support peace-building efforts in Somalia.
You know, there have been skirmishes and confrontations in Gedo region, that is on the side of a neighboring country. And as a government, we have expressed concern, really, because of some of these skirmishes do lead to panic and fear of our people in Mandera town. This is allegations by Somalia that Kenya is sponsoring and harboring militia with the objective of destabilizing Somalia are not based on any merit. We, as a country, have never spared any effort in trying to find a lasting solution in that country. As a country, we want to state very clearly and categorically that we will not accept to be drawn into internal politics of Somalia. We are therefore calling on all Somali leadership to desist from dragging Kenya into their domestic issues.
Vandals have defaced the newly opened office of the United Democratic Alliance Party in Gabartonjo, Baringo County. The vandals reportedly used black paint to conceal the name of UDA and its logo, just 2 days after the party established Gabartonjo office.
Officials of the newly established United Democratic Alliance woke up to what appears to be a political intolerance in KAPEDO, Baringo County. Unknown individuals are said to have descended on the newly established office, defacing the party logo.
Kama bado uko na roho ya Mungu ndani yako, usituchafue, na kama unataka ofisi kuja tafuta kwingine, wachana na UDA.
Kwanza ningependa kusema ukashifu wale ambao walifanya kitendo kama hiki. Unajua UDA ni chama cha Aslas na walikaa chini wakasema tutaka UDA office KAPEDO.
The party officials, in condemning the incident, accused some aggrieved persons who had unsuccessfully attempted to assume leadership of the party in the region.
Political party have got a right to have an office in any parts of Kenya, including in KAPEDO, in Baringo North, Baringo Central, and everywhere in Kenya.
Kenya ni nchi huru, KAPEDO ni Kenya. Na sisi wote tukiwa Kenya tuishi pamoja, tukue na muungano pamoja. Mambo ya kupitishana usiku na kuchora mambo kinyume ni kuharibu nchi yetu ya Kenya.
Area residents expressed concerns over security lapse in the region, even as they questioned how the vandalism occurred despite existing restrictions on movements.
Police have launched investigations into the deaths of 2 individuals who allegedly committed suicide in 2 separate incidents in NJIRU. In one incident, the body of a 25-year-old man was found hanging in his room, while in a separate incident, the body of a woman was found hanging from a rope in an unfinished building.
A somber mood engulfed RABAI in NJIRU sub-county Thursday morning. This is after residents woke up to a rude shock following 2 separate incidents in which individuals are alleged to have taken their own lives. According to residents, a pungent smell was emanating from one of the houses, prompting them to call on authorities, who discovered the body of a 25-year-old man in his bedroom. His family says he mostly kept to himself.
Uliza sasa nataka tuishi maisha yake anaiangalia aje, mambo ya nyuma, mambo ya nini. Akaniambia ile mpango wako nayo atakuja kuniambia. So it's very unfortunate. Ameenda kama hajaniambia vile alikuwa amepanga kufanya.
Meanwhile, a few kilometers from this incident, a young woman was found hanging from a rope on an unfinished building. According to the deceased woman's husband, he left her in the morning and went to work only to receive a call informing him that she was found hanging from a rope in an unfinished building.
Toka last year mwezi wa 3. Lakini sasa alikuwa amepona, sasa sijui nini shida imetokea wapi na kunjakuwa na shida yoyote kwa nyumba.
At the same time, all village elders in NJIRU ward have been stripped of their titles for allegedly facilitating the sale of illicit brew in the area. A new team of village elders have been elected to work with authorities. Residents raised alarm following a surge in the manufacture and sale of illicit brew, calling on authorities to intervene. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Jackie Wambura.
Kisii County has partnered with the Kenya Climate Innovation Center to set up a business incubation hub in the region. The project, which is being carried out in collaboration with the European Union, is geared towards boosting agribusiness in the region. The program is expected to benefit more than 2,400 women and youth agribusiness enterprises to a tune of 5.1 billion shillings.
During the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding, Kenya Climate Innovation Center Chief Executive Officer Edward Mungai said necessary funding shall be released in 2 months.
We are here to say that agriculture also pays, and especially if we connect agriculture and technology, and especially for young people, then it is supposed to work. We will be giving grants, we will also be giving commercial money, and at the same time, we will also be helping these businesses to become better businesses.
The Kisii County government says the project will complement ongoing agricultural programs in the county.
We will be doing a lot of vetting so that we try as much as possible. We raise our success percentage to above 97%. That is why when we were told that we've been nominated, we've been selected, we'll be implementing the program, the governor, the Department of Agriculture, and the Office of the CS, we decided and came up with a team that would mentor these people.
The project is expected to empower and enfranchise the youth into self-employment and food production. For Channel 1 News, I'm Jacqueline Masharia.
In other news, a section of residents of RABAI, the water unit at the Coast Water Works Development Agency in Mazeras, protesting against persistent water shortage. The residents claim the authority has religiously billed them for 3 consecutive months despite the water shortage.
I'm a junior staff.
Okay.
Fine. I'm a junior staff.
Lakini wewe ndio uko.
No, I'm fine. As a junior staff, I cannot explain anything.
The irate residents demanded to see the manager to explain why they have not been receiving the scarce commodity over the last 3 months. According to the residents, the water shortage has persisted despite a booming water business at the Mabirikani pump station.
Pale Mabirikani kuna sehemu ambayo inapeleka maji Mombasa, inapeleka maji Taita na nyingine inapeleka Kilifi. Na ikatueleza ya kwamba zile water boozers ambazo ziko pale 100,000 ya mabuza tuyaona pale yanachota maji ambayo ni ya Kilifi County.
At some point, the angry residents the taps oblivious of the wastage. They alleged the water cartels have been colluding with politicians to create artificial water shortage.
Maji Kilifi County yako, lakini wanasiasa wanayafanyia biashara. Mawota sasa wanafanya biashara. Maji yale yanachukuliwa, wanakuja uziwa wale wafanyikazi wa vijijini wanauza maji, wanatiliwa, wanauza na wanatuzia sisi plastiki shilingi 100.
The locals expressed fears of contracting COVID-19 should the water shortage persist.
Idara inayohusika, tuachilieni maji, tuokoe maisha yetu na pia ugonjwa tuepuke. Manake watoto waenda skuli mikono hawaoshi. Hasa hii corona itaenea. Tupe maji. Idara ya afya asema maji yatiririke, tuoshe mikono. Yetu ni hayo tu, hatutaki mambo mengine. Tunataka maji RABAI. Miezi 3 tunkosa maji.
They called on relevant authorities to intervene and save the situation.
Wale ambao wanahusika maji, kwa waheshimiwa ambao wako juu yetu, hata Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, tunakuomba maji uongee na waheshimiwa wa Kilifi County, maji tupate leo.
For Channel 1 Lunchtime News from RABAI Sub-County, I am Anboro.
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 227428 Thika branch, 0725 000-706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
Mwaka
bidhaa mpya na vitu noma zaidi kwenye quickbit.co.ke. Siku ya leo tunakupa Von 4 burner gas cooker.
Oh yes, na tunakuambia ni rahisi zaidi. Enda kwenye simu yako, lipa na M-Pesa, paybill number 4032353 4032353. Kisha enda kwenye account, ekelea kodi ni CK56 CK94, alafu amount ni 20 bob peke yake.
Alafu kumbuka utaekelea pin yako. Hivyo ndivyo utakuwa umekelea bid kwenye quickbit.co.ke. Ni bidhaa bora zaidi kwenye bei ya nini?
Chini kwa chini. Chini kwa chini.
Jiunga na QuickBit ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbit.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio ununua. QuickBit, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Welcome back. You're watching Channel 1 Lunchtime News. Time for us to do business. Remember, at the beginning of this bulletin, we talked of having a conversation on food preservation in Kenya and across the globe. We'll be looking at refrigeration market in the country. As I mentioned earlier, 940 billion US dollars go to waste globally on food loss and wastage. In Kenya, we spend 150 billion US dollars on food loss and wastage. This is amount that could feed up to 1.6 billion people. To bring more insight on this is William Kamore, LG Electronics content manager. And Kamore, just as we kick off this interview, give us an overview. How has it been in 2020? Which were the most sold electronics in the market?
Okay. Thank you very much for having me here, Irene. It's always a pleasure. And in 2020, when we look at the electronics market in Kenya, we found that there was an increase in uptake of electronics in conjunction with how the economy was. And you'll find that during those few months, or during those that time, during the pandemic, we found that most people improved or upgraded their appliances from refrigerators to washing machines and TV. So there was an increase, especially in washing machine sales and also in TV sales during that time.
There is this aspect by the Energy Regulatory Authority that I'll have to monitor my power ratings when I'm purchasing for an electronic. Why should I be so keen on that?
First, we'd like to commend the efforts put up by IPRA in regards to regulating of electronics in Kenya. And you find that especially in refrigerators, since we're talking about refrigeration nowadays, you find that once someone purchases a refrigerator, this is the only one appliance in your house that runs 24 hours. So it is very important to get to understand and know how much energy consumption it uses, and also being able to help the consumers to be more safe in their house. We've had cases where most houses have caught on fire or products have actually exploded. And this effort by IPRA to ensure that each product that comes to Kenya is given a certificate and it's certified for the Kenyan consumer, giving the Kenyan consumer safety and also giving them assurance that their product is saving energy on their part.
When you mentioned about refrigeration,
yes,
where do we stand at in the market? Do people purchase more of refrigerators? Remember, we are in the COVID-19 pandemic, and when we store food in our fridges, is it safe for us? You as an expert.
Yes, during last year when LG Electronics, we did a survey because we wanted to understand the Kenyan consumers, especially during this time, because the pandemic was actually a shifting game that made people realize things and also take things into consideration. So one thing we focused on is getting to understand the Kenyan refrigerator market, and we found that in urban areas, the uptake is higher, with about 67% of households having refrigerators. And in rural areas, the numbers were a bit low. And also we wanted to improve and let people know the importance of refrigeration to try and reduce food wastage, especially during this time.
There is the issue of technology. Even when we are amid the COVID-19 pandemic, there are these special features which come with the fridges where you would only use your mobile gadget to be able to get what you want in these refrigerators. What is your take on this? Where will we be come next year or going forward, considering in 2021, that is what we are talking about right now?
Okay, if I can say, during that time of last year when people upgraded their products or they bought refrigerators and other electronics appliances, we found that also convenience was one of the key features that most people are looking for. Like when you're in the market to purchase a refrigerator, one thing that comes to mind is especially capacity and technology. And also coming in at a third point will be the cost related to purchasing this refrigerator. But when you're talking about technology, we found that it is always good nowadays. Most people have smartphones, and also most people are on the move, on the go, either looking for work or even getting work. And we also found that it is easier for you to be able to access your product on the platform on the mobile phone. So LG Electronics has an app known as the LG ThinQ that enables you to monitor the status of your product, especially like refrigerators. You can turn on the features. You can even also check on the temperature, check if it's cooling, and this way now it's also beneficial to you.
You haven't mentioned of where we are looking at come next year going forward, if that is where we are. But even if, when you're answering that, I want you to tell me of the key factors I should consider when purchasing these electronics, especially the refrigerators.
Good. Okay. So from our survey that we did, we found that most Kenyan consumers, when they're in the market for a refrigerator, one is obviously the cost. So one factor people looked at was the cost, but another big factor was on capacity. Is this refrigerator that I'm buying, will it be able to fit all my products? Will it be able to fit the size of my family? And then will it also help me reduce in my food wastage and food storage? And then another feature is on technology, like I mentioned before. And another, the fourth point, which I find is most crucial, is on after-sales service. Because all these appliances, you need to be assured in case something goes wrong, you can be able to take it somewhere. You'd either be replaced or you can get a professional service to look at it.
But from the experience that you have had so far in the industry, what are these key factors that influence the decision of a consumer, especially when it comes to purchasing of a refrigerator? Remember, this is a component that is used for food preservation exercise.
Yes, when you're talking about refrigeration, you find one, also energy saving is very important in a refrigerator, and then also the aspect of freshness. Because you find that to reduce food wastage, you need a refrigerator that is able to keep your products fresher for longer, so that it can be able to help you reduce on your food wastage and make use of the little food that you may be having. So the compressor is a very main component that is referred here. And also another factor for consumers was on durability, and you can be assured on, or you have to check. I can encourage consumers to always check on the compressor the refrigerator is using to see that you are assured of durability and freshness all the time.
What will be your closing remarks, even as I take you back to where was the technology that we are right now? Where are we looking at in electronics come next year?
Yes, what I can say is, as we have seen from the projections that the government or even the World Bank has told us, is that the economy is meant to be growing in the year 2021. And technology will not be left behind during this aspect. So you'll find there is a lot of products that will be coming in that are consumer-centric and are looking forward to improving the lives of the consumers. Like LG recently launched the InstaView refrigerator, which helps one in accessing your favorite items and also helps in reducing your cold air loss. So come 2021, I'm seeing that business will pick up and also most people or consumers will get products that they fit them.
Thank you, William. Good to have you. That is William Komore, LG Content Manager, East Africa, giving us an insight on food preservation concerns. In other news making headlines this afternoon, the Kenya Energy Generating Company plans to commission the Olkaria 1 Unit 6 geothermal plant later this year. The unit is expected to inject 84 megawatts into the national grid as the country accelerates plans to generate 5,000 megawatts of clean energy in 4 years' time. KenGen Chief Rebecca Miano has said the company has so far drilled more than 310 wells to support Kenya's geothermal power strategy.
KenGen, which is Africa's largest geothermal producer, is developing more geothermal wells in the steam-rich Olkaria Basin in a bid to upscale the country's clean energy pool. In 2018, KenGen picked Japanese contractor Fuji and Marubeni to develop Unit 6. Olkaria 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are currently producing power. Unit 1 to 6 will add another 83.3 megawatts to the output capacity of Olkaria 1, bringing the total output capacity of Olkaria 1 up to 274 megawatts. The Olkaria 1 geothermal power plant began producing electricity in 1981, making it the first geothermal power plant in Africa. It currently operates 5 turbines with a total capacity of about 185 megawatts, making it one of the largest geothermal power plants in Africa. KenGen Chief Rebecca Miano has said the procurement of the redevelopment of Olkaria 1 power plant, which seeks to increase the plant's installed capacity from the current 45 megawatts to 50 megawatts and extend its life by 25 years, is in its final stages. KenGen has reported the pre-tax profit jumped 8.3% in the financial year ended June 2020. The increase was driven by additional revenue contribution by the 165 megawatts Olkaria 5 geothermal power plant and proceeds from the ongoing geothermal drilling project in Ethiopia.
The International Monetary Fund says South Africa requires a growth-friendly yet sizable fiscal effort to stabilize and lower its debt burden, reduce country risk premiums, and improve investor confidence. The COVID-19 pandemic exhibited South Africa's existing vulnerabilities, which means tackling long-standing fiscal and structural challenges is more critical than ever to set the stage for a robust recovery and pursue strong, inclusive growth. Here are the details of this and other stories from the African continent.
The IMF has trimmed its forecast for South Africa's 2021 economic growth to 2.8% from 3% and sees expansion at only 1.4% next year. The country took out a $4.3 billion loan from the IMF in 2020, its first yet from the organization at a sovereign level. South Africa's economy probably contracted the most in 9 decades last year as a lockdown to curb the spread of the virus weighed on output. Even before the virus restrictions, the country was stuck in the longest downward business cycle since World War II, with power shortages and bailouts for loss-making state-owned companies contributing to a rapid deterioration in public finances. Meanwhile, the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, says locusts remain a major threat to the Horn of Africa due to favorable weather conditions. FAO Senior Locust Forecasting Officer Keith Chrisman observes that while plenty of efforts have been done in the last year to fight the locusts, the current weather in the region favors the insects. He says the occurrence of cyclones means the failure of seasonal rains and the presence of strong winds that carry the locusts from one region to another. In the Horn of Africa, locusts have invaded Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Somalia, and Ethiopia, and have also spread to Pakistan, in India, and Southwest Asia. Finally, inflation for the 16th straight month, hitting a record 3-year high, driven by rising food costs along the enhanced price index. Nigeria's economy has trapped in a recession, and the value of the local currency naira has depreciated significantly against other foreign currencies like the US dollar. As a result, the prices of most products, including the imported food items, are negatively affected. The average cost of a bag of rice is currently a little less than $100. This time last year, it was just over $50. Experts said that this could push 7 million Nigerians into poverty because the incomes of most Nigerians have not risen over that period.
The Geothermal Development Company is optimistic that 3 independent power producers would start constructing power plants next month to generate 105 megawatts of electricity. GDC Managing Director Jared Otieno says the 3 IPPs have now secured the relevant documentation and funds which had delayed the process.
In 2015, the Geothermal Development Company awarded tenders to 3 independent power producers to put up power plants to each generate 35 megawatts. However, years later, the 3 IPPs are yet to start construction in what is blamed on the slow process of securing relevant documentation and funds. GDC says this is all behind and construction of power plants could start next month. Delays in securing relevant documentation had initially seen some finances pulling out. Otieno says this has been sorted.
We are in various levels of facilitation. For one, which is S.SUDAN, they were on financial close, but then they required certain financial instruments, guarantees from the national government, which we are pushing. The moment the same is done, together with Kenya Power, who have signed the PPA, then we should be able to have them going to site.
He says drilling of steam at Korosi 1 and 2 geothermal sites in Baringo County are also set to be completed in 3 months.
We were able to also start on the Korosi prospect. When Korosi, the first well is already dug at almost 2.7 kilometers out of a target of 3 kilometers. We expect that maybe in the next 1 week or so, we should be able to meet the target for Korosi 1. Similarly, in January 16th this year, we already started Korosi 2.
GDC says it has started compensation and CSR activities in Suswa geothermal site in Kajiado County as it plans to start geothermal exploration and drilling in the area.
Any landowner who would either be relocated or we may have used or leased their land for prospecting
is coming into the feeder of Kajiado County as again a destination for geothermal resource development. We want to assure not only GDC but also investors, including those in geothermal, that they will not find a better environment to invest in Kajiado.
The farm says plans are underway to start geothermal exploration in Homa Hills in Homa Bay County that has a potential to add about 800 megawatts, as well as Mwana Nyamala at the coast.